SBR Videos is sponsored by Sports Cash System. Click on the link below for more information. Previewing week one in college football here at SBR Forum Videos. This is a show Inside the Lines. And one of our first guests for this year is going to be Anthony from SweetJones55.com, who has a great reputation handicapping WNBA and NBA. And he's done some WNBA game previews with us. And now he has a college football pick that he likes. And he's going to do some college football games with us all season long. Anthony from SweetJones55.com. Thanks for being back with us.
Hey, Peter. Thanks again for having me.
All right, so you do college football as well. Tell us a little bit about how you cap college football and plug your site.
All right, well, the last two seasons I've done football. It's a combination package of college football and NFL. I'm very, very selective. I just really look for good spots. There's not like one specific thing I'd say I look for. It's like a combination of, trends, situations, matchups, line value, everything. And the package is $200. It's from August 28th to November 2nd. Once that time period's over, then I start NBA. I really just try to stick to just football. And then once NBA starts, I do that to be a little bit more efficient and to maintain the high win rate that I've done.
Right, sure.
The last 2 years, I've gotten 30 and 15, and I've hit 67% in football.
Yeah, absolutely. Limiting yourself, not biting off more than you can chew is one of the essential aspects of being an effective handicapper. All right, so SweetJones55.com. The game that you want to talk about is Miami, Ohio at Marshall. Now, Marshall is about a 19.5 point home favorite. That line has gone up a bit since it opened, but it has taken a few jumps down. It's mostly gone up, though. It opened at about 16, got all the way up to 20. Now I'm seeing 19.5. Total 68.5. And Marshall, of course, has a huge, high-powered, pass-oriented offense. Rakeem Cato is back. Their receivers, a number of their big receivers are back. They have some new faces, though. Their starting line returns 4 guys. Running game looks good. So all signs are pointing to Marshall having another huge offense this year. Defense is a problem for them, though. But will Miami of Ohio be able to take advantage of it? I'm not sure. They do have a senior quarterback who was good enough to start last 2 years, although in 2010 he did play pretty well. But in general, Miami, Ohio has a lot of glaring holes. They're one of these teams that kind of returns a bunch of starters, but you're not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm thinking your side here is going to be Marshall minus 19.5.
Yeah, well, I actually released, you're correct. I released the play on Sunday at minus 17.5, but anyone that's watching this, I would still play it at. I think the line should be 21. I think that, this line's just way off. They should be favored by at least 3 touchdowns in this game. And for a lot of the same reasons that you said, I just think Marshall has a really solid team. They should be headed for at least an 8-win season. This is probably the best team that Coach Holliday has had since being with this team. They got 15 stars returning. Obviously, the quarterback, you already talked about him. It's the most important position in football. And last year, Rakeem Cato led NCAA football in passing yards per game with 360 yards as a sophomore. And the jump from sophomore to junior year is usually the biggest. They got back Tommy Schuler, one of their top receivers, their top tight end and red zone threat. Gator Hoskins is back. Their Conference USA Freshman of the Year running back, Kevin Groom, good. He's a big time player. And I think that's the kind of guy you'll see playing on Sundays. And then 9 of their top 10 offensive linemen are back. And Marshall averaged 40 points per game last season, and I really expect them to probably average even more than that this year with all the players coming back and a year more experience. I would say the defense is obviously their biggest issue. They had a very, very bad defense last year, but Miami of Ohio really doesn't have much to on offense that's gonna like make a difference.
Right.
They lost quarterback Zach Dysart, who started 4 years there. He's pretty much all that school has known. And they weren't even really good when he was there. They were 8-16 over the last 2 seasons, even having that guy. Now comes in Austin Boucher, who hasn't taken a snap in 3 years. And I really don't expect Boucher in his first start to just come in and light it up on the road. Miami's pass protection in the last 4 years is the worst, and their run game's really bad. They lost their top receiver, and then they dismissed their another big receiver that they had. They just don't have much of anything offensively. They don't have a run game. The running backs are pretty bad. The offensive line, like something you mentioned, was that you don't know if getting back all these players is good. And in this case,
Right.
I think it's terrible. You got a terrible offensive line. It's unlikely, a few months from whenever the last game was to now that these guys are going to be much better. They're just really not that talented. And they got a lot of inexperienced players at receiver. Like I already mentioned, they were the 4th worst rushing team in NCAA. And I think this. I really don't. I just think this Miami Ohio offense is going to struggle to move the ball. and Marshall's going to have great field position all game. And Marshall was one of the most prolific offenses in the nation, and with good field position at home against a bad defense, they should score at will. And the Miami of Ohio defense come second half should really wear it down. And I think Miami will be in a lot of third and long situations with with an inexperienced quarterback and a bad offensive line. He's just not going to be able to move the chains. They're going to be coming off the field, and Marshall's going to keep. I think they're going to keep coming at him, and I'm really expecting a score in the range of around 42-17.
All right, well, I'd love to ask you some kind of contrarian question here, but I really don't have anything. I basically agree with everything you're saying, and 3-touchdown win by Marshall, probably more likely than not. Thanks so much, Anthony from Sweet Jones